Room. Okay, let's get introducing to the next our next teacher who's standing there. Uh, she's a little nervous at the moment because this is a huge room that we've got going on in here as well. We've got hundreds of people sitting there waiting to watch. So
she has her own challenges. We've had cats.
Yeah.
I think we've had a dog.
We did, yeah. Azusa had a dog.
Yeah, we've had microphone issues, and I think our next instructor has children because she's inviting you into her home. I think she's balloon bonded them under the table. She said, "No, I'm joking." No,
no, she's just threatened them with extreme violence. That's fine. That's just a joke, kinda. So
why do you think we're barricaded in the our
easy for you to say. Easy for you
YouTube, because we live in YouTube.
We've barricaded ourselves into YouTube. Okay,
like
we're getting behind again now. So we're on segment 52, guys. Segment 52. This is the wonderful Lucy Hennessy. She's one of our favourite instructors from the UK. She's such a wonderful, giving, sharing person. The class title is From Picture to Pocket. This mainly air-filled class will focus on replicating an element from a balloon, from rough sketch to final design.
Well, that sounds cool.
So, give a huge warm welcome to, we're going to have Lucy Hennessy, all right? Here she is.
Welcome.
Hello, you right?
We are. How are you?
Just about right.
Breathing, just about.
Breathing.
Yeah, excuse the noise.
Just about. But we'll get there. We'll get there with the help of this lot out here. Okay?
Exactly.
They cannot wait to see you, Lucy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. My name's Lucy. I'm currently in my front room. The back room is just full of rubbish, full of my balloons. My work in progress, so you have to excuse the mess and the noise. Okay, today's lesson for profit. And last, I really wasn't sure what to do when I got the email. I've currently finished a fundamentals class, sitting in a hotel in Warsaw, wondering what am I going to do, and then it just come to me. So I hope you like my designs, and we'll go from there. Okay, so my first design is based on the flower fairy design. Okay, and what we're going to do is replicate the fairy just by picking up different elements on the design. So we've got the fairy there, and we're also going to duplicate some of the bottom. When I'm designing a design, whether it be for a competition or for a client, I always choose a balloon and then pick elements for it, so you're replicating it through. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take a 350 cube. Okay, I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, and then take a 5-inch balloon. Okay, and I'm just going to place it inside the 350 cube. Okay, so taking my hand pump, I'm going to put 1 puff of air into the 350. Okay, and then just knock the 5-inch balloon. Okay, so pulling the neck down, all I'm going to do now is just inflate the 350 cube so it pushes the 5-inch balloon down. Distortion is one of my favourite things to do. Obviously, you don't get much call for it today, but when you've got a budget, so the opportunity to do so, really like to do just to push yourself, really. Okay, so all I've got is some beads from a strip. Okay, they sell these all over the UK. Okay, so I'm just going to drop the bead into the 350 cube. Okay, and then take another 2. So I've got 3 in there at the moment. You have to excuse the shaking fingers. Okay. So 3 beads are in. Okay, now I'm going to take a 260 cube blush and I'm going to cut it into about 1/3. Just get rid of the excess, and then pop the 260Q into the balloon. Okay, so what we're going to do now is inflate the 260Q. Okay, and I only want a little bit, so I'm just going to hold the this part here, because I don't want to put too much air in it, because this is going to be the fairy's neck, so we don't want it to have a fat neck. Okay, so I'm just going to push that up a little bit more. So that's our fairy's neck. So I tie the 260Q off and the 350 together. Okay, and inside the neck here we've got 3 beads. So I want one in the neck, and 1 bead is going to come out. If I push it down slowly to be a shoulder blade. Okay, so we're going to form a raise and a twist. Okay, so I have to excuse the shape of the balloon, it's a bit rude at the moment, but we'll get there. Okay, so we're going to take our razor, our beads, and we're going to perform a raise and twist. So I'm just going to twist the balloon. Okay, and what I've done, which I'll show you in a moment, is make an arm. Okay, so I'm just going to tie the arm onto the raisin. Like that. Okay, so to make your arm, take a 260Q. We're going to cut it in half again. Drop another little bead in. Okay, so just go all the way down, making sure not to drop it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so going to put the bead into the 260Q. My hands are sweating. This heat press is on 170 degrees at the moment, and I'm boiling. Okay, right. Okay, so take the bead, and we're just going to push it all the way down to the bottom. Okay, and this is going to form the fairy's hat. When I was designing this design, yeah, sure. I think it's that. Is that better? Is that better? Yeah. Okay, lovely. Okay, so the bead is at the bottom, and so all I'm going to do is take the 260Q and the puff of bearing, okay, and I'm going to measure it against my other arm. Okay, so where I want it to finish, I'm just going to tie it off. Okay, so that's our little hand. Okay, so with the other arm, do exactly the same again. So twist the balloon, and then we're going to tie the fairy's arm around the raisin twist. Okay, like that, making sure it's nice and tight. Okay, okay, so we're just going to cut the excess down. Oh, try not to get that in the heat press. Okay, and that's our fairy's shoulders. Okay, so with the fairy that's on the packet, she's got a pink body. So normally I'd use a rose, but I've got not many roses. So I'm going to use a pearl pink and just cut the neck off the balloon. Okay, and all I'm going to do now is cut the 350Q, because I don't want that either. Okay, so we're going to open up the 11-inch pink, pearl pink, and drop it into the fairy's body. Okay, so the shoulder blade's coming down a bit. Just bring the shoulder up. That's it. So we've got our shoulders. Okay. So from here, I'm going to draw the face and just leave her to dry. So I'm going to take a Posca. Okay, you can get Sharpies. Sorry, I'm going to take a Sharpie. You can get Poscas, but I've not got any pink Poscas in stock. So I'm going to use a Sharpie that I borrowed from my daughter. Sorry, Alice. Okay, so we're just going to draw the face on. And just to make sure that I've got the right proportion, I'm just drawing an outline of her face first, her hair. Okay. And then it's a case of colouring that in. Okay. So I'll do a few little bits. And then I'll truly repeat the style later on. Okay, so just let that chat. Okay. I did one earlier today. I didn't let it to dry in time so much, leave it to dry for the moment. Okay, so we're going to come on now to replicating the fairies petals. They have different things. I was going to do 350Qs, and then I thought about a technique that we used to do a long while ago using an ironing board, and that was the only time I used to get the iron out, when I used to iron foils. It was a standing joke in my house with my mum. So what we're going to do is come away from the iron board, and we're going to use the press, making this noise at the moment. So I bought the heat press for making my t-shirts. And when I was laying in bed the other night watching telly, catching up on YouTube, I saw a piece on this. So I'm sorry if I really didn't copy you, I promise. Okay, what this one is, this came from a peacock design I had to make for Pioneer last year. And I was playing around again with different things, come up with the ironing of the foils through the heat press, and thought, or I saved that idea for a competition or something. So I brought it forward, and here we are today. Okay, what we're going to do is take a mauve creme balloon, okay, and all I'm going to do is just cut that down. So all those balloons that you've got indoors, okay, that are spares, or you've got odds and sods of, we're just going to use those. Okay, so this is really hot. I've got it on 169 and 169 degrees. Okay, so what I have got is this bullion wire. I was trying to find the name, but my sister can actually remember the name. I found it down the shed. Didn't have what I wanted, but I found this and it works perfectly. So I think it's some sort of floristry wire. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the wire, okay, and I'm going to base it into the foil. Now, what I've noticed with this, if you leave it on heat press too long, it starts to seal itself up again. Okay, so placing the wire into the foil. Okay, just going to various points along the foil. Pre-cut the wire. Well, it's getting hot, it's sealing up again. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple. Okay, so before, when I was practicing with this, I've got about 7 out of this. So I'm going to take the Teflon mat that came from Amazon. Okay, push it down, and then I've got it on 30 seconds. Okay, so that gives off a lot of heat, and I normally keep this well away from the children indoors. I burnt myself on it earlier. You know, when I was playing with the designs. So we'll let this go for a second. So what it does come up with, okay, once it's finished, is this. Okay, so I've got my wire at the top, and you can also place the wire inside the foil, so if you don't want it to come out. So let's just take this out, and I'm going to turn it off because it's making me sweat. Right. Okay, so with our scissors, okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to cut some petal designs. Okay, so what I'm doing now is replicating the flower at the bottom of the balloon. Okay, so with this one, I'm just going to do like an 8 shape. So that's my 8 shape for later on. Okay, for the actual fairy skirt, I used magenta. Okay, and for her petals, all I did was just literally a leaf shape, cutting it out. And when I was playing with this design, last year. I wanted to try and put the foil through the Silhouette Cameo, but I haven't had a chance of playing it, but I'm sure it probably would go through it on some setting. But, and that would be a game changer. So this is our petals, okay, and where we've got the wire in it, we can manipulate these around. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the end of this wire off because I don't want the wire petal. So if you look at the fairy, okay, she has got petals to her skirts. So when I was playing with this, I found the best way of attaching it is using blue bond. So you've got our strips of blue bond. I'm just going to take a tiny bit. You really don't need a lot of blue bond. And then we're just going to place it on the fairy. Okay? So, like that. And what we do is we just layer up the petals as we go. I'm not going to do it all, just to give you an idea. Hello. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dave. Okay.
Guys, we're gonna have about 2 to 5 minutes just break here. We're gonna go on a be right back, and we're gonna fix this. We've come up with a solution that we think's gonna work, so bear with us. We really appreciate your understanding, and we shall get back to you right, well, soon as we can. Hello there, guys. It looks like we've gotten this resolved. I just want to make you aware as well. This event was put together so last minute, so quickly, because in light of what's actually been happening in the world, most of the people, most of our instructors, don't have professional equipment or even webcams or anything. A lot of things are done by phones and other kinds of things, so they don't have the same kind of settings that lots of other things do. However, we've managed to come, as balloon people do, they always find a way, right? That's what we do. The most creative people on the planet. So we found a way to get around this, and hopefully we can go back to Lucy and catch back up with her. Okay, so thank you very much for your patience and understanding. Stay positive, guys. We love it when we stay positive.
We've got a 350Q with a 5-inch inside, and we've got 3 beads, 1 for the neck and 2 for the raisin twists, and then an 11-inch balloon that I've stretched over the body, and then we did the heat pressing of the foils. So where I was up to was just cutting some petals. I'm not going to do everything in case it does take quite a while, but I'm just going to show you again how I attach the petals. Okay, so just a tiny amount of balloon tape, so balloon bond. Okay, and then we're just going to place that onto the skirt like that. Okay, so if you look at the fairy, she actually has a lapel part, and then she's got a belt as well. So I was coming up with ideas how to put the lapel on, and originally I had a Wildberry 350Q, but it just didn't want to see it. I didn't have the right glue in stock. Okay, so what I've come up with was using the a scrap of the heat press magenta. I'm just going to cut a scrap on the edge of the balloon so it's a nice curve. Okay, and then I'm just going to place that around. Okay, and then just balloon bond that around. Okay, so it's going to stick nice and tightly. So let's get her face. So by this time her face will have dried as well. Okay, so that's just literally gonna go around. Okay, and then for a waist, again I just had some ribbon sitting around. I originally wanted a 260Q, but I didn't have any. So I used ribbon, and then again, I'm going to balloon bond that. Okay, so rather than me waste time showing you how I did everything, True Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. Okay, so we've got the magenta top part, and then we've got the petals all the way around. Okay, and these little bits here, what I did, okay, was down the bottom I've got the knot of the 260Q. Again, I'm just going to twist that, take a scrap, okay, and make a raisin twist again, nice and tightly when you turn that round. Okay, and that's what we're going to attach her legs to. Okay, right, so with her legs, it's exactly the same as before. This time we're going to make the 260Qs longer. We've got the bead at the bottom, okay, and then what we're going to do is just open up the petals and then just tie the 260Qs together like we'd do a duplet. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie them to the raisin twist. So it's nice and tight. Okay, and then just cut all the excess. We don't want anything showing underneath. Okay. Okay, so if you look closely at the blue, she's got little dots on her skirt. So all I did, if I show you on here, okay, again, taking the Posca, do a little dot, and then just like a little cross out the frame, just to pick up the detailing, just so it makes that design pop. Okay. Okay, so for the base, I've carried on with the petals. Okay, this time cutting the chrome, okay, like the figure of 8. And all I did with this one was place all the bits together. Ideally, I probably should have used lilac as well. I just simply didn't have it. But I think it looks quite nice. Okay, so keep this quite slim. I've gone quite fat with my number 8, so just make that a bit thinner. Okay, so with the lily, I think it's the lily down the bottom, all I'm going to do is just literally place these on by using Bloom Bond, okay, and then we can just layer them up. So it looks like that. Okay, so the petals are all pointing upwards. Okay, and for the middle, all I did was take some 160Q yellows. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut them up into small pieces. You probably need about 4 blooms to give you a good coverage. Okay. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is take some of the wire. You could use binding wire if you've got binding wire, or they do a thin gold bullion wire as well. So literally just wrap that around the middle. Okay. This design, this you could also use for anemones as well. Lots of people use these in an under the sea theme. So I'm just going to take a sharper pair of scissors and just cut these blooms at an angle. Okay, and that's going to be the centre of the flower. Okay, so just Bloom Bond that into place. So if I was making a 4-petal flower, I'd do it like that. But I think I had I made 7 petals for these flowers. Okay. Okay, so that's our flower. Now to put it onto a base, again, first of all I thought, oh, I've got a cake board down the shed. But then I found my board. Okay, so this has been widely used, and here's, you can see the remnants that I've been practicing with. Okay, now I'm not sure whether this has a hole in it by default or whether it's just one of the holes that are in the board itself. So if it hasn't got a hole, you can place a hole in the middle. And all I'm going to do is place a 260Q with a wire inside, and this is going to support the fairy, so it looks like she is flying. Okay, so to do that, okay, I'm going to take Oasis wire. Normally I'd use 18 gauge wire, but I haven't got any in stock. I've not done a fancy flower petal for quite a while, and I'm kicking myself because a couple of months ago I emptied the workshop and got rid of a load. They've gone all rusty, that's how long I'd had them. So all I'm going to do is a loop at each end. Okay, close the loop. Okay, and then if you want to, you can get some Stemtex. Okay, this is the paper version, it's not the plastic, and you can just literally place that around. So nice and tight. So I'm going back to my floristry days, and it's not floristry days. I did a 2-year course many moons ago, so that does help with your flower, your balloon artistry, especially when it comes to doing your CBA exam as well. Okay, so it's all about the elements and principles of design. Okay, so imagine this is green, place that in, okay, and just push the 260Q all the way down the bottom. I'm keeping that quite tight, and then tying the bottom. Okay, so that's a wired 260Q, and we're going to be using those quite a lot in this design. Okay, so going back to the base, I'm going to drop the 260Q through the hole. It sits quite nicely in there. Okay, and just leave that there for the moment. Okay, so then I'm going to take some Oasis. We're going to use some dry Oasis. Again, I've not used this for a long while either. Okay. So I'm just going to cut that down. Normally I'd use a knife. And it's about, I don't know, about 10 centimetres. And I'm just going to cut it in half with a ruler. Okay, so the idea is that the Oasis is going to sit either side. So taking a cool glue gun. Taking a cool glue gun, even though it's cool, it will burn. Okay, so please be careful with it. So just glue the bottom to the tree trunk. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a blob of glue either end in the middle as well, just to push that together. Okay, so normally you'll let that set for a little while. Okay, so while that's drying, whenever you use dry Oasis, wash your hands afterwards. Because if it gets in your eyes, it kills. Oh, trust me, I've done that before. It really hurts. Okay. Okay. So I've made 2 flowers. Okay. And what I've done again is to make some leaves. Okay. Again, using the chrome green. Okay. So this time, same principle as we did with the water lily. Okay, like a figure of 8, and all I'm going to do is push those together like that. Okay, just to give a little bit of definition to the flower. Okay, so you can either use Bloom Bond or use cool glue gun. Okay, but I'm just going to use Bloom Bond for the moment, and I'm actually gluing the leaf. Okay, and it's going to go around at different points. Use that in the back. Okay, so Bloom Bond onto the petal, onto the leaf, and then just around the back. Okay, and then we can manipulate these leaves when we're finished. Okay, so I'm going to bring back the oasis. Okay, and I'm going to use the wire at the bottom, and that's going to go into the oasis. Okay, so just push that in. Okay, I'm going to have one side, one the other, and I'm just going to off-center them slightly. Okay, so that's our flowers. Now, by replicating the bottom, there's a lot of sort of long piece, wispy pieces of stem. Okay, so again, you could use, this time I've used 160Q onto a wire. Again, it would have been an 18 gauge wire, but they didn't, we haven't got any. But what I did have down the shed was the wire for Sugarcraft. Okay, so this is 18 gauge as well, but it's really thin compared to the other stuff. But it's perfect for the 160Qs. So again, just make a loop each end. Okay, and then take a 160Q. I've used wintergreen, and that's going to go into the balloon, making sure you put it nice and tight. Again, you're probably best off stem text in the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to place that there so I can see. So with our wire now, I'm just going to cut the excess. Okay, and I'm going to curve the wire. Okay, so I don't want kinks in the wire, so I'm just going to use my pen and just move it up and down so it gets nice and soft curls. Okay, so my first piece is going to come out a bit, so it's going to go into the wire. Okay, what I could have used as well if I had the right colour was, again, this is Oasis aluminium wire, but I didn't have green and I didn't want to put blue in because it doesn't go with the theme. But if you was going to use this, again, nice and curved, and cut it. Okay, and you can place that in. That looks really nice, but I just didn't have the colour that I had. I've not used aluminium wire for a long while. Okay, so I'm just going to place the wire into the Oasis. Okay, remember this is going to be like a centerpiece, so it needs to be viewed from all round. Okay, and the Oasis needs to be covered. Okay, what I've also made is some single leaves using the chrome foils that I've put through the heat press, and I'm just going to take them out. It does take a little bit of time. Okay, and I'm just going to place them through. Okay, what there also is as well on the balloons are white leaves. Okay, so the white leaves is some sort of plant. I have to forgive my knowledge, my terminology. So all I've done here again is take a Sharpie or a permanent marker and just duplicated the petals that are on there. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to put this in together. Okay, so again, I honestly do think a little bit of floristry knowledge helps your balloons. I'm really not a very good florist, but it does definitely help. My sister's a florist in the family. Okay, so place these in. And I don't want to make everything out of fancy flowers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some leaves, so some fake flowers, some fake petals, cut those down, and they're going to go into the Oasis as well. Okay, so I can hear my florist teacher in my head saying recession, Lucy. So we need to fill this design. Okay, making sure you can't see the Oasis. And I think just by adding the extra fake flowers, it just gives it, so fake petals, it gives it a little bit of depth. Otherwise it's going to look too foily. So I'm going to go in at angles as well, just to cover the base. Okay, and then what I have done is make some little flowers again using the pink chrome. Okay, so smaller flowers, and these I'm just going to glue straight in. Okay, and just be truthful to the balloon. Okay. So I'm just going to glue that into the erases. So it's starting to get some nice coverage. I'm going to put some more 160 Qs in as well, just to get your eye moving through the design. Okay, and a little bit more flower. And then also I'm just going to add some fake flowers in as well. Okay, so I've had these knocking around indoors. I think artificial flowers have really come a long way. Okay, and I use those quite a lot in my designs. They look perfect with bubbles as well. So just fill those gaps. And then, because I had some excess, just made a little magenta flower as well. So just looking to see if I've got any gaps, which I have. So I'm just going to do that directly onto the board. And just put some more waves coming through. If you look at the balloon, it sort of arcs round. Okay, so that's the base. Okay, so you could spend a lot longer filling in, but I've really got to get on and show you. Okay, so I'm bending these around. Oh, another thing as well, which I did, where's it gone, is if you use a glue pen, you could use glitter inside as well. So where the white of the flower is, you could put that in. That looks quite nice. Okay. All right, let's just put one more in. I know it's going to keep this quite fluid and free. So it is really handy to go to a local, either florist, wholesaler, or depending on where you are in the country, some balloon wholesalers sell them as well. Okay. Okay, so that's my base. So now we're going to put the fairy on. Okay, so no fairy is going to be complete without her wings. Okay, so again, I used pearl light blue and put the wires through as well to give the petal, to give the wings some movement. So again, I've used some balloon bond. Okay, put them onto the balloon, and that's going to go onto the back. So I go through lots of balloon bond and lots of high flow in my house, and stretchy balloon tape as well. Okay, so I'm just going to manipulate these round to where I want them to go, to give the, so bending them to give the fairy some movement. Okay, so the fairy's finished. To make her fly, all I'm going to do is take the wire and wrap it around. Okay, so she's got a little base to sit on. Okay, taking the, I should have left the 260Q on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put 160Q on, so it's going to tie her. Okay. Placing her legs through the design, and now I'm just going to tie her underneath. Okay, so she looks like she's flying. Make that tighter. Okay, so just place her on. Just turn around so I can see what I'm doing. And I can manipulate this wire. That's it. Okay. So that's our base. Okay. And what I did with the face, again, duplicated her face with a black Sharpie and cheeks as well. So for the cheeks, here's another one I made earlier. For the cheeks, just literally place, get your Sharpie. Let me do a different colour. Get your Sharpie, okay, make a dot and then just literally dab, just to give her a bit of glow in her cheeks. Okay, so put that to one side. So my fairy is flying. If you've got any bits showing, stand back, see if you've got anything showing. I can just see a little bit of erases poking out. Okay, and then I'm just going to take another flower. Okay, so place that in and into the erases. That's better. Okay, so that's our fairy. For the aerial balloons, I've just inflated them with helium, and then we've got some raffia. I don't know if you can see the raffia. So I love this raffia. It really is good to use. So I've got two different rolls going on. I'm just going to pick out the colours in the design. So I've got pink, green, and lilac. And then in the other roll, I've got a darker pink and a light pink. Okay, so cut that down. So again, I used this raffia on the unicorn design that I did last year. Okay, so just cut the raffia, and I've put the balloons onto mono because I want the balloons to look like they're floating, like the fairy. So I'll put the mono onto the neck of the balloon, okay, and then I'm just going to fold and roll. So those of you that have done the fundamentals with me recently or over the years, we're just going to tie it exactly the same way using the mono. So I chose this ribbon because I thought it looked more delicate than normal curly ribbon. Okay, I'm just going to cut the excess, making sure I cut the right part of the right bit of excess. Okay. Okay, so taking the three foils, making sure I have my heat press on, burn myself. Okay, and I'm just going to layer them up. So depending on what you want to do, you can have your staggered or your layered bouquet. Okay, I'm going to take the mono, turn the fairy over. Okay, and then I'm just going to take some stretchy blue tape and tie those individually. Okay, but for time, I'm just going to put them together. Okay, so just cut the excess. And then with all my designs, I've got a business card stuck, well, business sticker stuck to the bottom of my design, just so that when people turn the design over, they've got your details ready to go. Okay, so bring this up a little bit more. She looks like she's flying. And then there you go. That's our first fairy design. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move the fairy out of the way onto the settee. Okay, and this time we're going to use the Tatty Teddy design. So this balloon was actually for a client who I had to cancel. because of the current situation. So I thought, right, I'm going to use the blue because Tatty Teddy is quite lovely, quite a nice design. And I made a similar design for my niece last year, again using the qualatex #3 foil, and she had a teddy bear's picnic theme. So this has come from that design. Okay, so what I've done, I've air-filled the bottom, air-filled the balloon, and I'm just going to take some more Blue Bond. I only need a small piece. Okay, and it's going to go onto the neck of the foil. Okay, so I'm just going to use it to cover the barcode, so I don't want to see the barcode. Okay. Get rid of these balloons. Why don't we be able to see what I'm doing? Right. Okay, so this time we're going to use our stretchy balloon tape. Again, something that I use a lot of. I've put 350 around it because I know when I'm working I tend to lose things. So if that's got a balloon on it, I can see it and I know it's mine. Okay, so a small piece is going to go onto the back of the balloon. Okay, I'm just going to make a small tag. Okay, so I'm just going to use an excess 160, use a 260, okay, and fold back. Okay, and then just tie on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there for a little while. Okay, and now with the Tatty Teddy foil, I'm going to get rid of that. Again, I want to duplicate. So obviously we're going to duplicate the Tatty Teddy, but I'm also going to pick up hearts and the stripes on the #1. Okay, so by using the #1, I'm going to use the ombre #1. Okay, so I've air-filled it, and then I've just folded and rolled with a 260Q at the bottom, and I'm going to make a tab at the top as well. So a small piece, and an excess. Excess 260Q. Okay, I'm going to find roughly the middle. So place one part on, and then the 160 through, and we're going to tie it to the top. So I've got a fixing point. Okay. I've got a little bit of erasers on this tape. I'm just going to put another piece because my hands, I've got erasers on, and it's affecting the stickiness. So I'm going to go slightly bigger. Try and get the erasers off here. Okay, so just tie that on top. Okay, so we've got a fixing point. Before stretchy balloon tape used to come about, I used to use like a higher grade sellotape, but this stuff is really fabulous to use. Some people say that it's expensive, but you only need a little bit. It's really not expensive. Okay, it's going to do the job, and you want people to remember you for nice balloons. So I'm just going to grab my balloons are outside. Okay, so with the ombre, it says graduation in colour, and the #1, the Tatty Teddy, has got stripes as well, so it goes really well. So I'm going to look at the ombre. So the lighter colour is at the bottom. So I'm going to use a cluster of 4 to 9 inches. Okay. And then I've got a duplicate pearl pink, size to 4.5 inches, and another duplicate 4.5 inch pearl pink, and I've got a white 6-inch quick link, again because I haven't got the pinks in stock. So with the tip, I'm just going to push all the air out, okay, and tie it, okay, and make a cluster. So 2 duplicates in the cluster. Try and get some of this water off the table. Okay, all I'm going to do is literally pull the neck up from the bottom up round and tight, and then I've got a cluster of 4 9-inch again, double stuff, wild berry inside a white, and it's got a slightly darker colour. So nice and tight, and I'm going to take a neck from the bottom cluster and tight, nice and tight. You could use that one if you wanted it, or a 260Q. That's nice and tight. Okay, so we've got a cluster of 4, 4 and 4, 9-inch, 4.5 inches, 9-inch. And the reason why I made this is so my foil balloon can sit in nice and tight. So I'm going to take my foil, my tatty teddy, okay, and then using the excess at the bottom, just going to bring it back around. Right, so bring that in. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got the ombre going on like we had with the number 1. Just put this to one side for the moment. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is take the number 1 and I'm going to attach it to the base. Okay, so make it nice and tight. And double knot it. Okay, so as it is, it can be like a nice delivery. Okay, if the budget's limited, but we're going to add more to it and really take the tatty teddy through the design. Okay, so I'm going to blow up another 9-inch, 11 balloons to 9 inches. So to grab my box. Okay, and we're going to inflate to 9 inches. Okay, so let's clear my desk. We're going to make tatty teddy now. Again, using distortion. Get rid of all my rubbish. Okay, so okay, so for tatty teddy, I'm going to stand the number 1 up using a different way. So I've just got a double stuff waterway, or you can use a sand rake, making sure it fits nice and tightly into the gap. You can use wild berry simply because it was there at the time. Okay, so I'm just going to go out and get the stuff that I've blown up already. Okay, so we're going to use a 7-inch foam cluster. Okay, and I've sized those to 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to go on top of the side, using the 160 view to bring that through. Okay, and now we're going to shut that door so you don't need to hit the screen at one another. Okay, so we're going to take 16-inch silver. Okay, again, because literally what I had indoors. Okay. And we're going to stretch it. So I'm just going to stretch the. Okay, so stretch the balloon. Take a 24-inch bubble. Okay, and then we're just going to open it up and then drop the 16-inch balloon inside. You must pre-stretch your 16-inch balloons because it's got to go to 24 inches. Okay, so give the neck of the balloon a rub, drop the balloon in. Okay, you can also use a bag stick as well to get it in, or a chopstick people use. There's a little mind that's sweating. Right, okay. So bring that through. So the neck of the 16-inch balloon, so the bead has to be flush with the neck of the bubble. Let's see what we get in there. Okay. Okay, we're there. Finally. Okay, so I'm just going to aeroplane. So what I'm going to do is take a 11-inch grey chrome. Oh, sorry, 11-inch grey in the box. Which I've left in the back green. Okay, so we're just going to use a chrome for the time being. Okay. So I'm going to use a chrome and it's going to go into the bubble as well. Okay, so I'm just going to take a chopstick and place it in. Okay, so we've got 2 balloons inside the bubble. Okay, so I'm going to inflate the outside, sorry, the 16-inch balloon first, if I can find the foot pedal. Okay. Oh my God. Right, try again. A little puff of air into that. Chrome. Now I'm going to go back to my 16-inch balloon. Make the 11-inch slightly bigger. And then here, I'm going to tie off my 11-inch balloon and then get rid of the neck. Okay. and then inflate. I'm just going to finish it off using the hand pump. Okay. And then, like any normal bubble, okay, take a stretched 260Q. Okay, and I'm going to tie off. So nice and tight. Twist the bubble first. And then not much room behind here, sorry. Okay. So nice and tight. So this technique was what I used at WBC in Denver for the hag, the pig. Okay. So we've got our bubble. I'm just going to cut off the 16-inch next, I don't want it. And then taking and bring that bubble in nice and tight. And just cut the excess off. Okay, so for the Tatty Teddy, again, it's about duplicating what's actually on the balloon. So get the balloon in front of me. Okay, and what I did originally when I designed it, I just used Sharpie on it, but I wanted to add some accent to it. Okay, so I pre-cut a vinyl square, okay, and that's going to be the patch on Tatty Teddy's face. And that's going to go at an angle, and I really do like vinyl. Okay, so my love of vinyl has increased throughout the years. Okay, but I really do think it adds to any design. Okay, so this time I'm going to take some eyes, which I've cut in the other box. Okay, so just black eyes that I've pre-cut, and then they're going to go on. And then Tatty's Teddy's eyes are quite close together, so we're going to place those on. And he's got a nose as well, so I just drew an oval nose this morning, and then just accented it with white Posca pen. Okay, so it's going to go onto his nose. So it's gradually coming to life now. And for his markings, I'm just going to use a black Sharpie. So I'll bring that slightly closer, put that in front. So with his markings, they start with a dot, and then a line, and then a dot. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in front of me so I know roughly what I'm doing. So dot, dot, and then dot, down dot, and some markings at the top. Okay, so when I was designing this, I did think about, do I need to outline his nose? So we're going to go round as closely as possible to the circle. Okay, and go round. Okay, so that's his face. So for his ears, all we're going to do is do some apple twists. Okay, and then taking some 7-inch chrome, I'm going to inflate the chrome, let it down. Make sure they're in proportion to his face. Okay, so tie the end of your apple twist, okay, and then we're going to place, wet your finger, okay, place it through the glue, okay, down the bottom. I'm going to keep it quite low, okay, twist it round, and then take some excess and tie it. Okay, so that's our first apple twist. For the next one, exactly the same thing. Inflate, let down. Okay, and then we're going to inflate it again. I'll just try and stick it at the same size. I wrote it all down in the book, and I've not stuck to my book, my recipe. Okay, right. Okay, so we're going to tie, when you're doing your apple twist, tie it close to the bead, wet the balloon, bring it through, so twist it around, take an excess, and cut off. Okay, so this time, what I'm going to use is the U-glue dashes. Okay, so I've literally got a couple left. Okay, but I know when we was at WBC in San Diego, you had rolls of it, and I couldn't believe my eyes. But we have literally in the UK, we only get this. Okay, so with the ears, we're going to place them where we want them to go. Okay, so I'm going to take, I'm being really mean with my U-glue dashes. Okay, and I'm going to cut them in half. Okay. Okay, so place, figure out where they're going to go. And they're going to go to the seam. And one's going to go out. And I'm going to go underneath for the next one. And my number one's got a hole in it. I think it's touched the radiator. Or one of my son's toys that are hiding behind the table. Okay. It's got confetti dot in it. Put another one on. Okay. So it's stuck to my finger. Okay, and in the other ear, we're going to place on. Again, measure where you want it to go. Get the right piece. So I'm following the seam of the bubble. Taking my apple twist, use my back. Okay, and then one here as well. Okay, so my number one has got a slight puncture. So what I'm going to do is inflate the other one quickly. Where is it gone? Right, let's grab this one. Don't you just love live streaming? Okay. True Blue Peter style again. Okay, so let's take this apart. So, here's it in the 20-inch bubble. Okay, but we're going to use a 24. I'm going to take the head off my blade. Put another 260Q round. Okay, and then really pull that through tightly. Wrap that around. Sit down. And I'm just going to cut the excess. Okay, so with our arms, again we're going to use distortion. Refer back to my notes what I've done. Okay, so we're going to take a 7-inch chrome. Okay, and I'm going to inflate it to stretch it. Let it down. And then just a 5-inch balloon, any colour. And we're just going to put it into your balloon with my kebab stick. Okay, and this time I'm going to do 3 pumps. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And then tie the grey balloon off inside. Okay, take another 5-inch balloon. Okay, with our kebab stick again. Drop it inside. Okay, and I'm going to put some air into my chrome balloon just to make it stretch. Okay, and then this time I'm going to put 5 pumps of air into my 5-inch grey. Okay, I'm going to hold the neck of my 5-inch balloon and I'm just going to release some of my air from my chrome. Tatty Teddy's arm is quite formed. Okay, so try again. Go 5-inch inside. Okay. Outside first. Done 10 pumps, and then I'm going to go inside with 5 pumps. Okay, so knock that off, and we're going to release the air. Just gently put your hand in. I've got some air to come out. So you can see it's got an arm now. Okay, so I'm just going to knock that off. Grab one that I made earlier. Okay. Take an XS260Q. So again, I'd probably use a grey for a client, but we're using a lash through. Okay, making sure you've got a little paste in between. Okay, so let's go over. Okay, so that's his arm. Okay, so for his feet, I'm just going to move him out of the way again. So for his feet, I'm going to take an 11-inch balloon. I'm going to inflate it to stretch it. Okay. So at the moment, I'm using the cream and foilia. Okay. Stretch it and let go. Okay, and this time we're going to take a 350Q. Okay. You're going to cut about a third off. Okay, fold the 350Q up, drop it inside. Okay, and leaving a little piece out. Okay, I'm going to inflate the outside balloon first. Like that. I'm going to hold on to my neck, and then we're going to inflate the 350Q. Okay, and I'm going to give 6 pumps. Okay, 6 pumps inside. Okay, and then we're going to tie off. Sorry about the noise. Tie off the 350Q. There's no wires on the earlier. Okay, so this time we really need to get that neck of the blue sitting about there. Okay. So all I'm going to do now is take a 5-inch balloon. Okay, I'm going to place it onto my kebab stick, my chopstick into the balloon. Okay, and this time we're going to do, let me just grab the okay. My balloon's got a hole inside it. Right, okay. So, manipulate the outside balloon first, so I can see my inside balloon, making sure I'm going to get the air out. Okay, I'm just going to put another couple of puffs of air into my inside balloon. Like that. Here's one I made earlier again. Always wanted to say that watching Blue Peter, and why don't you when I was younger. Okay, right, so we've got the air out. What we're going to do now is just cut that, tie that off. Okay, and all I've done on this one is panel. That circle, okay, and then literally onto the balloon, the base of the balloon. Okay, still got quite a bit of air in it. I should probably let it down a little bit more. And then with my Sharpie, I'm just gonna put on here so I can literally go round like stitch marks, because Tatty Teddy's got 1 foot that's got the Me to You sign on. So place it on. I can't remember if it's got 2 or not, two patches, but we'll see. We'll do it anyway. Okay. Okay, and then again, taking the balloon, and then I googled it as well. Googled the logo, and just wrote the logo on the foot. Okay, you could vinyl it if you've got time. I just didn't have time this morning. Okay, so we've got 2 feet. Okay, so let's bring our Tatty Teddy back. Not the first delivery. Okay, so at the base, I'm going to use a 9-inch air-filled heart that I've heat sealed. Okay, so that's going to sit at the bottom. So rubbish. So I'm just going to lift it up, see where I want it to sit. Okay. And I'm just going to move on the back. And it's going to sit against my number one. Okay. So for the feet, we're going to use Bloom Bond or glue glue if I had any, but I've literally got 2 bits left. I'm going to use them on my next design. Okay, so I'm just going to place that on here in a moment and get his feet up. Back on. And that is his feet are going to tape on to the heart and to the latex. So let's just measure where the heart's going to go first. So measure where his feet's going to go first. I'm going to put it straight onto the heart. And then the other side. So when I made this for my niece, she absolutely loved it. I used blush on that one, replicating the number 3 blue with the bear and the princess on. Okay, right, so we're on, we're stuck, and finished. Okay, so that's the base of the design. Okay, and then at the top we've got the arms and the teddy. Okay, so just to add some more sellability to the design, what we can do is I've just vinyled a little girl's name in silver and just place that onto the number 1 just to add some extra value to the design. Let me just get my tape. So all my vinyl I get locally. There are places that do it as well. I'm just going to use tape. I've left my squidger in the back room, so I'm going to have to do it by eye. And I'm just going to place it onto the balloon. I've literally got no space, so excuse me for my tape. So this little girl is one, we're going to be called Mina. And I use dotted font on this one because of the dots on the tatty teddy's face. So I would guess probably 80% of my designs have got some sort of vinyl element. I really do think by personalising, you're actually offering them something that the card shops, the generic card shops can't sell. Okay, so our little girl is called Mia. I will move the camera back in a minute. So she's got the heart, number 1, and then we've got the tatty teddy and his distorted face. Okay, there we go. Okay, so last design, try and get point down the table. Just place that there for the moment. Okay, so we might have 1, possibly 2 designs left. Okay, so let's get rid of all my rubbish. Okay, so for those of you who know me, I'm in Essex and we like a bit of feather and a bit of bling. So this one we're going to go very art deco. Leave a clear of space. Okay, and I'm going to be using the Lonely Pole a loamy pedestal and a 9-inch dish. When I went to America, WBC, I saw the plexi poles, and again, you could use those. We just don't have them in the UK. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my plug back on. It's really cheap and easy. Okay, and a little bit covers a long way. So those of you that have been on my recent classes, I took this as a centerpiece design, slightly changed it up for today. Okay, so we've got some pedestals indoors. Okay, using the cool glue gun again. Okay, just going to place a boa around the dish to hide it. I'm going to place that around. And then cut that off. Get rid of the excess and then just in my house, it will always come out confetti stuck and also a little bit of glitter. Okay, so that's my base. Okay, for the bottom, I'm going to take some 5-inch black. Take some 5-inch black. And we're going to okay, so 5-inch black, and I'm going to inflate them to 4 inches. Okay, so not 4 inches, 3 inches even, sorry. Okay, so they'll go to 3. So at this point I would use normally my electric stir machine, but I've realised I've got it in the back room. So my twin air size is in the back and I'm using a hand pump. Okay, so 4 inches, so 3 inches. Then we're going to take gold chrome, okay, and this is going to be sized to 4 inches, okay. Through the size up. I've just realised what I've done. I should have used like scrap that. I'm going to do silver. We've got enough. Yeah. Right, let's try again, Lucy. Okay. So I'm precision pumping at the moment. Okay, so using the 7-inch chrome, I'm going to get my hook out. It's changed it all around. These IKEA bags are good invention to keep all your bits and pieces in. Okay, so we're going to just do 1 pump for these. This is going to be the top of my sewing. So 1 pump, probably about 3 inch. Okay, and again, another one. Okay, so my very last classes that I did before everything started going wrong, we used a beaded beads to go round. But I was having a play the other day, okay, with the design. I wanted to come up with something slightly different. Okay, so what I'm going to do, take the air, stretch the air out of a black 260Q. Okay, so 2 blacks and 2 golds. Okay, and I'm just going to place an excess 260 around the bottom. Okay, so the idea is that I wanted to cover this pole matching the foil. I wanted to keep it in keeping with the actual foil that we're going to be using. So the foil that I'm going to be using is the Happy Birthday Art Deco. Okay, so I'm going to pull this. So I'm going to set the 260Q in between the ridge. Okay, and then bring it, stretch it all the way up to the top. Okay, get another excess blue. You could use a ribbon with this, so I'm going to use a 260. So nice and tight, wrap it around, see? Okay, so bring it up, and then I'm just going to tie it around the top of the 260Q. Okay, so we're going to follow that all the way around. So the next strap we're going to use a gold. And nice and tightly on. And up. You can see that. There's a different way to do this, but easier to do it like that. Okay, so all 4 straps are going to be covered. Once you put the balloons on the base, they're going to stop this from rising. Okay. So just do a double knot at the base. Okay, so to stop that from rolling up, I'm just going to put my cluster on the bottom, lock it onto the hole, and that's going to stop this from going up, as she says. Okay. And then when we get to the top, we're going to put some more clusters on to get in place. Okay, so for the final gold one, I'll wrap it around. You can see this is starting to fall down. Don't worry, once you get the other clusters on, it'll all come back up. Okay, so for our top, we're going to use silver chrome. We'll keep it black and silver with accents of gold. So for our silver top, we're going to go 4 inches again. Nice and tight. plaster on. So I'm going to measure it first of all where it's going to sit. That's good. Okay, so pull up my glue, wrap them around my plasters. Okay, take my 4-inch frame, take it on top. So one part, just tie it on to the plaster. Bring these up, and then I'm going to wrap these 260 glues around. And then the final plaster, black, on top. And I'm just going to wrap that around, keep it nice and tight. Making sure you can't see the hole. So that's the base. Okay, so for the foil, we're just going to use the premium foil here. I bought this at Christmas because I go to a big Christmas function in Instructor with lots of foil, and it saved so much time doing it. Where is it? If I can find a hose. Hose is there somewhere. Okay. All else fails. Go back to the hand pump. So you don't want to be doing this if you've got hundreds of foil. I need a bigger workspace. Okay, right. So I'm hand pumping the applique foil. Again, taking an extra step for later on. Oh, actually, I've got loads of black here. Okay, so fold and roll. And I want to balloon shine this for an event as well. What I didn't put on is the bottom. Okay, so we're replicating the colours at the top to the bottom. Okay, so to place the foil on top, stretch out the 260Q, place it in, and bring it around. Wrap. I'm not going to tie, I'm just going to wrap, making sure you wrap really tightly. Okay, so looking at the balloon itself, I want to duplicate the swirls and the triangle. Okay, so to do that, let's set on for a moment. I'm gonna take I'm an avid lover of a pound shop. Okay, so I picked these up for another class. I didn't use them. But what they are flower sticks. Okay. So we've got 2 different sizes. Okay. And all I'm going to do is take a 260Q black and outstretch it. Okay, and going to place it through. So push it all the way through. And I'm going to knot the end. And these are quite smooth, so you don't need to worry about it going through, she says. Okay. And then the other one. Okay, so this time I'm going to go smaller, 260Q, using the 15cm sticks. Okay, nice and tight. Drop it in. Okay, and really pull that nice and tight. Cut the excess off, we don't want the excess. Actually, keep the excess because we can use those to tie. Okay, so with this one, we're going to replicate some of the swirls. So what we're going to use is the Oasis wire. Okay, so or you could use the 18 gauge wire if you've got 18 gauge wire. Take a loop at the end. I'm going to take the chrome 260Q, and I really do love a chrome blue. Okay, I'm not a twister, but I do like to use 260s in chrome. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a rub, open up the neck, place that through. Okay, I'm going to keep this quite long. Another loop at the other end. If you wanted to, you could stem text. I keep this nice and straight as much as I can. So we need 2 of those. So use the first one as a guide. Okay, take the 260Q, chrome, flatten the loop. So with the 18 gauge wire, it's a lot stronger, it's harder to bend. So this Oasis wire does bend quite easily. Okay, right, so we've done our chrome. So this time I'm going to replicate the loop that's actually on the balloon. Okay, so I'm just going to take my pen and just loop it around. Like that. Okay, so we've got one loop, and then we're going to do exactly the same with the other end. Try not to bend it too much, so try not to get a kink in it. So we're going to make this a similar one to the next, the other one. Cut the excess, we don't need the excess. Okay, so what we're going to do now is place the 30cm stick through the design. Okay, make sure that's sitting nice and flat, which it is. Okay, now with our curves, you've got 2 options. We can either use gold wire, okay, to put that on, which I'm going to use, and then to cover the mechanics, we can drop a balloon in. Okay, so I know where it's going to sit. Take the curve, where it's going to sit. Okay, and I'm just going to take some of this wire. Again, I'll probably use a thinner binding wire if I had it, but here you go. Okay, so that's on there nice and tight. So place that back in. Okay, and what I'm going to do to cover that stick, take a 260, cut the ends off, drop it in so it hides this wire. Roll that 260Q up, and then it all blends in, then you're not going to see any black stick. Okay, so I've covered that one. So that's going to go back in. And then my other one, I'm going to place it on. And then use the same 260Q thread. Okay, and then just take some more wire and bind the end. Okay, cut the excess down. And with this one, I'm just going to literally drop it over until it secures. Okay, so for the bottom, what I'm going to do is again take a chrome 260Q and we're going to use covering the wire again. Okay, let's do it down. Make a loop. Drop the 260Q onto the wire. Cut it. Make another loop at the end. And then place that through. So I want to keep this nice and tight if I can. That's come through. And now we're conscious of time. So take the wire, fold it in half. Okay, and the same again. So loop at the end, loop at that end. And then place it on. So with the 18-inch gauge wire, it's much more straighter, pliable to work with. That's me rushing. I'll bring that over. Okay, so use the first one as a guide. Cut your excess down. Just retie that. Okay, so we've got our V's and we've got our sticks. Okay, so bring up the design to the table. Okay, right, cut these excess bits out, dangling down. Okay, I'm going to grab right, okay, so with our V's, we're just literally going to place them in and then I'll glue them. So we're replicating the triangle shape there, and I could either use cool glue gun or I'm just going to literally glue and bind it on that side as well. Okay, so our sticks are replicating the lines coming outwards. So I'm going to take out the base to make it more interesting. So take our XS260 through, and then take that back in, and glue that back in, and then let's glue that. What's this? Okay, so we're following the geometric shapes that's actually on the design. Okay, and then if you wanted to, you could run some lights through it or some beads. It's entirely up to you. So this was one I did originally. Okay, so this one has got a silver oasis wire coming through. If you can see that. See the silver oasis wire coming through. But Art Deco seems to be quite popular at the moment. It was, and it will be. It's never going to age. Okay, so just quickly, I've just got one more thing to show you. It's half done, and this is a special request from somebody. Okay, so let me just go and grab it. Okay, so we used 16-inch inside our bubbles. Okay, and we've double stuffed it with our 16-inch and shut the door. And all I've done is put a tying point at the bottom. The latex is sized to 7 inches. Okay, and then I'll tell what it's going to be yet. Claire, are you watching? Okay, so with our head, all I did, exactly the same with our tatty teddy. This time it's a 20-inch head, 16-inch balloon inside with a 5-inch balloon, and then I vinyled it. And this was one I did for WBC back in San Diego. And I really like Toy Story, so I thought I'd show you. And Claire asked me to do this one when I told her I was going to be on the show. So just to attach the two, I've got a tying point here and at the base. And I'm just going to quickly inflate a little cluster. Again, it'll be pink. Okay, but I've only got pearl pink, so I'm literally going to one pump. I know I'm running slightly over, sorry. Okay, one pump. One pump. Okay, little cluster there. And I'm going to attach it to my base. Attach the time parts here. On the actually original one I did real cluster. I just U-glued it. I've literally got no U-glues left. So look at that. There. And then I'm just going to drop a water plate in the bottom. Run. Okay. They're nice and tight. I haven't got a 160Q for the tail, but a curly 160Q for the tail. And that is ham, all ready to go. Okay. Brilliant. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed the show. One thing that I've forgot is his little money box thing. Let me see if I've got a money box somewhere. No, I forgot to print a money box. So with the ears, 160Q inside, 11-inch balloon, U-glue to the top. Same at the top there. I do a little vinyl slot for the money to go through. I'm just looking for my Sharpie. Okay, so if you've not got vinyl, use a Sharpie. Okay, and I would have stuck a little tail on. I've got no balloons left over. Okay, so there's our ham. We've done the same technique using our tatty teddy. Design. Oh! Literally got no room to swing a cat. And there's our tatty teddy and our centerpiece. So I really hope you've enjoyed the design today. I've never demonstrated in my living room before, but all the designs normally start in my back room, so it's nice to finish the design. So I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and best wishes to everybody going through at the moment.
Hello, Lucy.
Hello, Lucy.
Hiya, Lucy.
Hiya, Lucy.
Oh, there's...
Oh, one more thing. Can I just say, sorry, she'll kill me otherwise. Can I say happy birthday for yesterday to Debbie? Happy birthday, Debs.
Happy birthday, Debs.
Happy birthday.
Lucy, have you got some audio on there? Because it's bouncing around. Or can you switch the audio off on? There we go. Well, that was a huge thank you to Lucy. Can we show some appreciation in the chat, please, guys? That would be fantastic.
Thank you so much. We saw you working hard there.
Yes, Lucy.
Very much appreciated.
Very much appreciated. We started with about 400 people watching, and you ended up with just under 600 people watching in your living room. I bet you didn't even think, not the bedroom. I did bet you didn't think that you'd get that many people in that room, right? Thank you very much. Please, again, show your appreciation to Lucy Hennessy. Thank you.
There's some golden
Look
nuggets.
at those golden
there
nuggets.
They are, flying up on the chat. Thank you so much, Lucy.
Bye, Lucy. Thank
Bye-bye
you.
for now.
Right, guys.
She was a busy bee.
She was.
Look at that. It's
We go just one more segment. Lucy says just one more design.
But that's our Lucy.
Yes.